officer bringing up a key point. At the core of this drama is an emotional divorce. And with divorce, each side often has an agenda, and each side certainly has its own story to tell. So we approach this from both sides, the husband and the wife. I've got psychotherapist Dr. Tiffany Davis-Henry here, thinking like Shellie on this one, and psychologist Dr. Eric Fisher digging into the mind of George Zimmerman, which may be difficult to do. And I'll start with you, Dr. Fisher. What is going on with him? Because when we saw the headline and you hear the news that there's another incident, is he reacting to the high-profile case, in your opinion?
Well, I think in all fairness, we'll have to start and say this is alleged information that we've heard through news reports, you know, and in all fairness to Mr. Zimmerman. But to me, what I've seen with him throughout is he tends to play a chronic victim role. And what I mean by that is when somebody plays a victim, something happened to them. And if it happened to them, it's not their fault. There for them, no blame, no shame, no guilt, no failure, no responsibility. They don't see how they impact the world or affect the world. And even when he fired his lawyers, when whatever happened with Trayvon, we don't know what the reality was, and I don't think he knows what the reality is.
But if you're in this high-profile case and you're found not guilty, aren't you, A, not going to speed? If your wife files for divorce, you stay away when she's at the house, and again, details are still coming in. But Dr. Tiff, when you heard that 911 call, do you believe Shellie that she was afraid?
I kind of do, and obviously we weren't there, and everything that we've heard is alleged until they finish this investigation. But I think the interesting thing that she said is, I don't know what he's capable of. And that stood out for me because over the past few years and months, we've seen that he's capable of killing someone. He was acquitted for that. He's capable of speeding. He's capable of erratic behavior. He's capable of poor judgment from her mouth. So I think putting all those things together, she doesn't know the person that she once married. This person now is very different than the person that she once married and said, I do for. I think there's also a bit of resentment there. Remember, a few weeks ago, she stood in that courtroom and pleaded guilty to perjury. He was not there. And for someone who stood by his side, perjured herself for him, and you can't show up for me for court, but you can go to the gun manufacturer, you can speed, you can do all of these things, but you can't show up for me. That builds resentment in a person.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mark O'Mara, who represented George Zimmerman in the trial, said, look, this is just your typical divorce, spat, back and forth. Dr. Fisher, is there more to this? I mean, if you're George Zimmerman, don't you know that the public has an interest in you, and don't you make sure that your soon-to-be ex-wife is not at the house where you're supposed to be, or do emotions run high in this situation?
There's a huge sense of entitlement with victims. They feel entitled because, well, I haven't gotten my this, and this happened to me, and da-da-da, so they often feel like they have to get their due. He sounds, from, again, what I've seen, very paranoid, and paranoid people do not make good decisions. They aren't good judges of their own behavior or others' motivations. And also, from his wife, she does know probably what she's been dealing with, and she potentially could have
been in denial about what she's been dealing with over the years, and then in the aftermath of this trial, it's just come to light.
Yeah, maybe he became a more heightened sense of himself, who he already was.
And she might see a way out of this too, you know, through
this,
being able to
again,
play
as I said, this is far from over. The investigation is still ongoing. Dr. Tiff, Dr. Fisher, thank you for weighing in on this case. A lot of people talking about it. And Jane Velez Mitchell is planning a big hour on